What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for World's Biggest Collectors after a very long hiatus, longer than I intended it to be. We are here for episode 54 of World's Biggest Collectors. So I always knew I wanted to bring this show back. It just, I don't know. I only intended to be off for 2 or 3 weeks, and then life happened, summer happened, my kids are home, and it just got hard for me to dedicate the time to doing this show. I had jury duty as well, just a lot of different things that were going on in my life. But we're back, and I am happy to report that we are here for a fantastic second half to season 3. We'll call this season 3B of World's Biggest Collectors. So I want to do at least 10 to 15 episodes for the rest of the year. I'm hoping that I do that many. I'll at least do 10. I'm going to try for 15. But guys, look, I have already recorded I'm talking to you right now. I've already recorded 3 episodes. They're all bangers. We are going to look. I'm gonna make you all a promise with this season, and then I'm gonna get to introducing my guest here in a second. I'm going to make you a promise with this season. We are going to leave North America in this season of World's Biggest Collectors. We are going to fulfill the promise of World's Biggest Collectors. We're going to bring in collectors from outside, from outside the U.S., from outside North America. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the conversations that we're going to have outside of North America, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the world of physical media, the entire world. And I want to get other perspectives on that as well. But today we have got Jake from Steelbook Obsessed. I thought it would be good to bring myself back into the world of World's Biggest Collectors, into conversations, physical media conversations. I thought it would be good to have somebody on that I've interacted with numerous times. He's been on a number of round tables, but I've never got to have a one-on-one conversation with Jake. So I wanted to have him on here and talk about not just collecting and his history with collecting, but also just content creation and physical media content creation, in particular, movie content creation, how he grew his TikTok, what his goals are, what his plans are, like how he plans to fold that into YouTube. And we had a really interesting conversation about, collecting and content creation. And it was almost like a therapy session at one point. So I thought it was a really good conversation, and I'm excited to share it to you, to the world. Episode 54, World's Biggest Collectors, Jake, Steelbook Obsessed. Definitely subscribe to him. I have his channel down below. I've got his TikTok down below, his letterbox. All the links from Steelbook Obsessed are down below in the description. So follow them all. But this was an awesome conversation. I'm excited to share it. Let's do it. Let's go. All right, welcome back to World's Biggest Collectors. This is episode 54, and I'm joined by my good friend Jake over at Steelbook Obsessed here on World's Biggest Collectors. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. I'm glad I kind of poked the bear a little bit, and I'm like, hey, let's do these again. This is a good series you got.
Yeah, I've been wanting to bring it back forever. You know what happened is I think the last one was like in maybe early April or something. I got like stuck on jury duty.
Oh,
It's not like I didn't have to go down there every day, but it was just the thought of when am I going to be called and just not knowing. So I just didn't want to schedule anything, and then that had to like interfere. So I just kind of got out of the habit of doing these.
Did you have to do jury duty or no?
I went down there, I think 4 days, and I never got called on a jury, because how it works is you go down there and then you have to sit in the pool, and then if you get called, then you're on a jury. But I never got called to be on a jury. So, and that finally ended, but then my kids are out of school now. So it's just extremely chaotic around here. But you said, hey, Ken, let's get back to doing this World's Biggest Collectors. And I want to be on there. So I figured what way to bring it back than what better way to bring it back than with Jake over at Steelbook Obsessed. You've been on the channel numerous times, but for whatever reason, you haven't been on an official episode of World's Biggest Collectors.
I think I started coming on here when there was a big hiatus with this thing. So I always like to show off all the stuff I get every month. I have a blast doing those roundtables with you guys. But a one-on-one with Mr. Mid-Level Media.
One-on-one. Yeah, we're gonna dig into a lot of stuff. I want to get into you as a collector, Jake. Obviously, I know you have a fantastic collection. That's all steel books behind you right there, isn't it?
It's a good mix.
Okay.
I didn't know if the question was gonna come up, but I'm like, I've never counted how many steelbooks I have before. So I did that
Oh, okay.
just for this stream. I have 864.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's,
they're mixed all
way
around.
more than me by about, 5 times. But you not only collect steel books, you collect all things physical media, and just looking at your collection from your TikToks and stuff, like, that thing has to be massive, taking up, like, multiple rooms by now, right?
It's getting to be a little crazy, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon, and that's the
Yeah.
scariest part because it's got this. I don't wanna take over the entire basement that I'm in now, so I just have, like, a
Yeah.
nice little L corner here, and then I have
Yeah.
another room, and then I have a room for my VHS tapes and video games and stuff. It's getting to be a little crazy.
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask you, how does the old wife feel about that? The ever expanding collection. Is she like, this can't go past this point, or does she not care as much?
She's she helped me build these shelves. She helped me get the magnets that I have for the steelbook wall back there. She's all into me collecting. I just feel guilty in taking over all the space from my wife and my kids and everything. I don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
So the good stuff I showcase right here, and then like the terrible DVDs are just in the storage area, and VHS I display now. But yeah,
Yeah.
other stuff can just be tucked into rooms. But the main living room area in the basement, I just want to keep tidy and a place to watch movies. That's the main reason why I collect them in the first place, is to just
Yeah.
pop a movie in, watch with the family, and have a good time.
That's good to hear, and good for everybody to know. Jake's a good father. He's a good husband. He doesn't want to take over his house with physical media.
I
I,
try. No.
I'm at the point with because I moved all my DVDs. I used to have them out here because I just have this one room down here in the
Hmm.
basement. My wife was very clear. This is all I'm allowed. Now that I feel like I could probably start moving some of my more like nice stuff out in the living room at some point.
Sure.
But I've still got time in here. I've got at least probably 2 years of collecting until I run out of room in here. But I got a closet over there because I'm down in the basement also. So when they finish the basement, there's a closet in here.
Hmm.
So the closet's not finished, but that's where all my DVDs are right now. I
Right.
moved them all into the closet. So I want to get them like nice and organized and make the closet into like a little spot for like VHS and DVD and things like
Sure.
that. But
Yeah.
um but Jake, man, let's get into the official like, introductions. Tell everybody
Hmm.
what you're all about, what you do, where they can find you at real quick before we get into the meat of the show. I'll put you on
Sure.
solo screen.
Yeah. As you can see by the name down there. Oh god, it's reversed to down there. I go by Steelbook Obsessed. My main I'm on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I think all together, all four platforms combined, I'm at like 118,000 followers. It's getting to be pretty big, and it's taken up a lot more time than I initially thought, but I'm having a blast doing it. So I continue just to pump out content. I put out 2 videos a day, short form content between like a minute and 90 seconds each video. And yeah, I just talk about new movie releases, the stuff in my collection, upgrades, pickup videos from like half price books or hobby stores, Goodwill, Best Buy, all that fun stuff. So if you like collecting physical media, I'm assuming you do if you're watching this, give my channel a shot.
Nice, nice. And I will have all of Jake's links down below. I'll have your YouTube, I will have your TikTok, your Instagram. I'd say those are the three you're most active on, right? You got a
Yeah.
Twitter and
Facebook randomly got
Facebook?
hot. Like one of my videos did like 800,000 views.
Mm.
So I have like 16,500 followers
I
on it.
sometimes forget that Facebook is a place to put videos because I
Yeah.
have not really been on Facebook consistently in like 5 or 6 years.
I will say, peek behind the curtain, Facebook pays the best per video, like per
Wow,
view,
really?
out of
Yeah, because
everything
I'll
that I
see
have.
people, they'll be streaming and they'll be like, I'm streaming also on Facebook. And I didn't
Mhm.
know that was a thing until somebody mentioned that.
Yeah.
So,
I don't do the live streams, but I used to get paid awesome on Facebook, and that's the main reason why I stayed on there. But now they took
wow,
away that creator fund, and now you just get paid ads, but their ad pay is still second to none. That's even
crazy.
better than YouTube stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into, you as a creator for sure, because I think that I think you're pretty fascinating as a creator, and I'm always interested in hearing people's stories. But the thing that about you is I've noticed that you're extremely consistent,
Yeah.
and you're always out there, and that's the key really if you're going to do this and you're
Mhm.
really wanting to grow and and stuff. You got to get in people's faces every single day,
Right.
and you got to put yourself out there. And I see you doing that, so I really respect that about you and your pages and your channel and all that stuff. You do some
Mhm.
great work. So
Yeah, I'm
definitely
pretty
encourage
consistent.
everybody to subscribe and follow for sure.
Appreciate it. I'm pretty consistent when it comes to collecting, so I wanted to do the same thing in the content creation side of things.
Yep.
And yeah, on TikTok, I did like 3 a day at once, and that was fine. That was a little bit of a burnout, and I saw that 2 a day, especially stretched out into all platforms, seemed to be the best combination for everything.
Yep, for sure. I don't know if you know this, but I got started on Instagram and
Mm,
I did movie review stuff and stuff back in 2017. That's what I started doing. I didn't do any
okay.
videos or anything like that. But I grew that page to like, I don't know, like 12 or 13,000 followers. It's more than my current one does. My current Instagram page is like a spinoff of that. That was supposed
Hmm.
to be like more physical media focused. But on the other page, I just did like movie reviews and
What was that one called?
mid-level movie reviews. Is
Gotcha.
that was what I started the mid-level brand or whatever you want to
Sure.
call it.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I would post like I was, and we'll get into that a little bit, but like just becoming addicted to like putting out content because I was in my head like I had to do 3 or 4 posts every single day.
Sure.
And that's how I started to gain traction and really grow that account.
Yep.
But let's take things back to the beginning for you. I wanna learn more about little Jake and where he got started with collecting. Where does this fascination with collecting movies come from? When did it start? So take me back to the beginning. Where did it all start for you in collecting physical media?
I think with collecting, the main thing that got me started is fucking Pokemon cards.
Oh
The
wow.
gotta catch 'em all thing, when I was like 7 or 8, I was hooked. They had me hook,
Yeah.
line, and sinker. I had a giant binder full, and I was doing trades on the school playground. It was so much fun, and I think ever since then, the collection bug had its hooks in me, and I've been doing it ever since with pretty much anything that I had any interest in.
You know what's funny is I love video games when I was a kid. Pokemon
Mhm.
was like the one game that I could not get
Oh,
into.
really? No,
I
I
never
was
I
a
never
kid.
hopped on that train, but
Mm,
I did play the card game and I did
right.
become a little bit addicted to that card game and trading and stuff. I thought
Yep,
it
I
was
would
really
trade with
cool.
kids at my daycare, I would trade with kids at the school, and then I would run home from the school bus just to catch the Pokemon anime starting, like, if I
Yeah.
timed it correctly and I ran up my, driveway, I would get there with 1 minute to spare before the show started, like, my life for a good year and a half revolved around Pokemon.
Yeah. Now I feel like you're kinda close in age to me. How old are you?
I
If you don't
am
mind me asking?
33. Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
good.
so I'm
Mhm,
about 4 years older than you. I'll be 38 in a few months, actually.
mhm.
Um, so I feel like I was a little too old to get into
I can
Pokemon,
see that,
like,
yeah.
at that time, because
Mhm.
I was, like, 10 or 11, but that didn't stop, like, all my friends and, like, everybody in my grade felt like they were playing Pokemon on, like, Game Boy and the cards, but I do remember the cards, like, that was a big craze,
Right.
when that came out. That's still kind of a craze now, isn't it?
It's got a core audience for sure. I don't play it anymore, but I mean, a year ago, I think McDonald's was doing like you go and get a Happy Meal. It had like Pokemon trading cards, and I know my girls got hooked into collecting them again. And then
Yeah.
Pokemon Go was a thing during COVID. Yeah, the
Yeah,
brand is strong.
yeah, I remember Pokemon Go too, but,
Mhm.
I feel like didn't they sell them, like, Target and they had to pull them out?
That's
Because
with like a
people
lot of a lot of different sets of cards. Like during COVID, card collecting got super popular again, and Pokemon is probably the one that got the most
I
popular.
remember going to Target on Tuesday to do my Blu-ray hunts, and there would just be, like, these lines, like, around the
Hmm.
card section. I'm like, "What the
Hmm.
hell is going on over here?" I didn't know exactly what it was, but my brother-in-law explained it to me because he's kind of into, like, the Pokemon collecting and stuff. Um, but yeah, so it started with cards. Where did it transition into movies or whatever else? Maybe it
Yeah.
transitioned into something else. Were you a big
Um,
gamer when you were a kid too?
my parents wouldn't let me have a home console, so I had a handheld. So I think that's another reason why I
Okay.
liked Pokemon so much because that was like one of the games that I had
Oh
that I
yeah,
just
for sure.
stunk. Yeah, it was a fun time. So
That was the
throughout
game
my
to
high
play on
school
handheld.
year, yeah, through my high school career, I didn't really collect anything really. I was just more into extracurricular activities, that type of thing. But once I had my own place, is when I started collecting movies again. I remember with my first job, I bought like some VHS tapes. Like the first VHS I ever bought was the best of Chris Farley back in high school, like when I was like 14
I
years
feel like
old.
I remember the cover to that tape.
Yeah, it's just him and like the Chippendales. I think he's in the eye of Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
love that. That's a whole show like in and of itself to talk about some of the best skits during that era because I love that that era of Saturday Night Live in the 90s.
I do too. I'm a big SNL fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I started collecting heavily when I bought my first house when I was 25 is when I'm like, okay, I've got a place to store all this stuff. So let's just go at it. So
Yeah.
I had a little nook of like 100, and then we moved to this house. And by the time we built all these shelves, and these shelves were maybe a third of the way full.
Yeah.
And I've lived here 5 years, and it's growing like crazy, like wildfire.
And I imagine you've always been a movie fan, probably since you
Yes.
were a kid, for sure.
Yeah, and it's weird because my family really isn't, but the main thing that got me into movies, I mean, my dad every week would come and bring like 2 or 3 tapes from the rental store home on Fridays, and we would watch those while mom and him did something else. But there was one time where my mom was away for the weekend, and my dad and my brother and I went to the store and rented all 3 Back to the Futures, and we watched them all in one day.
Yeah.
And that's what
It's
really
the only way to do it.
That's what really blew my mind with like, oh wow, this is what movies can be. And ever since then I was hooked in these things.
Yeah. So you got seriously started collecting when probably about 8 years ago then.
Yeah, 8, 9 years ago.
So you jumped in pretty much not quite in the 4K era, but like right before it started then.
Yeah, I was big into Blu-ray. It might have been a little earlier than that. The first Steelbook I got was Django Unchained, the Target exclusive, and I think that came out in 2013. So it might have been 10 years ago now.
Okay.
So once I got that one, I'm like, I didn't even know Steelbooks were a thing. I just loved that movie, and I went to Target and I saw that. I'm like, what is this? This packaging looks amazing.
Yeah, cause I used to game a lot like in the 2000s and early 2010s and stuff. So I remember steelbooks being a thing like in the gaming world. Like I would see like a steelbook at GameStop or something. I would never get it. I always went the cheaper option, always back in the day, like even with movies. But yeah, I remember thinking they were really cool. I think I actually got one from somewhere. It was like it might have been like for free or something. Maybe somebody at GameStop just gave it to me, but it was like an Assassin's Creed 3 steelbook or something.
Right.
But I had no idea at that time they were doing them for movies too. I thought it was just a game thing.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I found it at 2013, that area, because that's when I started falling in love with like Marvel stuff with all the first phase 1 of MCU. And I was able, I think the first Steelbook I got from Best Buy was like Guardians of the Galaxy cassette tape one. That's when I really started figuring out like, oh, different stores have different exclusives, and that's
that stuff's really probably worth a good amount now. Sure.
I don't look up the value.
You don't even want to know, do you?
Yeah, because I know I'm not going to sell it, and I'm like, I don't even want to know. Because
have you ever sold any of your Steelbooks at all?
I've sold a couple, and I kind of regret doing it. I sell some Blu-ray Steelbooks. Like back in the day, like 2013, 2014, I bought some Zabby exclusives that were like pressed to 1500. And then, I don't know. I always have this feeling in the back of my head, like this Blu-ray is going to get a 4K at some point. So I might as well sell this while the iron's hot to get as much money as possible, just so I can upgrade to the 4K whenever it happens. Yeah. I don't like to do it though.
Yeah. So you don't even look up the prices. You don't even want to know.
I try not to. I mean, when I go on these live streams, sometimes like people say, oh, that's worth this amount. I'm like, no, I have no idea. And I wish I didn't know.
I'm kind of the same way. Like I don't really pay attention to stuff that's like out of print and things like that unless somebody tells me that. Obviously there's ones that you just know of because you hear it all the time. But I think the most expensive one I have in my collection is the Incredibles 4K Steelbook. Last I checked, that thing was like $300 or something. Sorry, I told you if you didn't want to know.
Wow.
But I don't know if it's still going for that. Maybe it's not, but I can't imagine why it wouldn't still be that. I mean, it hasn't gotten like another Steelbook or anything.
Right.
Since the release. You know the one I'm talking about?
I don't think so.
It's right here. This one right here.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, this one came out in very early on when I started collecting Steelbooks. I think it was it was right before the new one came out. So it was probably 2018.
I've got this release of it. It's like a kimchi DVD, I believe. And it slides out. I don't know how much this
now hold on now. You telling me this because this might be valuable information if I remember against you. Steelbook.
You have the 4K. Mine's just the Blu-ray.
Okay, you don't have this one?
I don't have that one, no.
I have a Steelbook that Jake doesn't have. Are you kidding me right now?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think that one's worth like 300 or something now.
That's crazy. That's cool.
I also had the second Incredible Steelbook, which is I hate it.
I
It's
do
the one with the
too. Just
washing
the
machine
washing
on
machine, it's
it.
terrible. Yeah, I
I
don't
said
like
I
it
hated
at
it
all.
one time in a video, and there was a lot of people in the comments defending it, saying they really liked the design. I'm like, how could anybody like this garbage?
I like the embossing on it. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has your collecting, habits evolved over time? How does it change from back in 2013 when you got started? When did things really were things just like hot and heavy from the beginning? Were you just like in it full speed, or did it take a couple of years to really catch on?
Um, when I started, I just got the stuff that I really liked, the stuff that I've seen before, the stuff that I knew that I wanted in my collection. So when anybody came over, I could say, "Yeah, I recommend this movie. Do you want to pop it in?" That type of thing. But
Yeah,
then the longer you collect stuff, the more you just like complete what you want, and you're like, "Okay, what else can I get?"
get
So
curious.
that's when I start going into the blind buys, and it probably took me like 3 4 years to even figure out what a boutique label was. And then once I
Yeah,
found that out, I'm like, okay, there's a set of things that I can try to collect. I'm going to collect the movies that I like that are part of this set.
yeah.
Hmm.
So you turned into a little bit of a completionist? Are you still that way? Do you like to get complete and stuff? Are there steelbook lines that are numbered
There are
and things
some,
like
yeah.
that?
Like there's a couple. Let's see here.
Because that's
Let
something
me
I'm not
find
too
one.
familiar with.
I'm trying to. There was one. There's an art line that Mexi Funk made that is the Day of the Dead line, which is like a whole bunch of movies with
I
this
remember
design on
those.
there.
That was Mexi-Funk,
Yeah, and these
was
were
it?
back in the day. These were released for $10. Like they were
Yeah,
dirt cheap, and I should have just bought all of them. But I'm like, okay, I'll just spend $100, get 10
yeah.
movies that I
I was
like.
just getting into it back then, and I think I got a couple. I can't even remember which ones I have. I think
Yeah,
that is this one of them?
it is.
Return
Yep.
of the Living Dead. Okay,
Hmm.
this might be the only one I got, but I feel like I got at least one more.
I think he made like 16 of them because he made them with like it was a Walmart slipcover release first.
I remember those,
Yeah,
but
and
no,
then
they weren't slip
or
covers.
they
They
were just
were
paper, right?
they were
Paper over it.
paper on it, and I remember
Yeah.
being so disappointed
Hmm.
because I bought a lot of those.
Yeah.
That's when I started to discover like Walmart and their exclusives, and like
Hmm.
they used to have like new Blu-ray covers like all the time, and they were always like super cheap. So I was buying a lot of that kind of stuff. I even bought their DVDs, like the Monster Mash line. Do you remember those?
I don't.
I did have The Exorcist over here, but like they had a bunch of those like cool artwork covers.
Hmm. See, I've never
Um,
been big into slipcover stuff. I don't know why until I got into the boutique stuff. The
yeah.
boutique stuff with the slipcovers, I'm all in. Everything else, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
But I remember getting the Fly and Carry, and then I got home and
Yeah.
took the plastic off, and I thought that that was just a part of the cover, and then I was like,
Hmm.
"What the hell?" It's like comes off, and the glue on the back always made the plastic warp,
That's
so
the worst.
it
Yeah.
just looked like crap after you took that off the cover.
Hmm.
And
And
then it
what are
had
you
like a
supposed to?
coloring book on the inside too.
Oh, I didn't know
Remember
that.
that? Yeah, they
No.
had coloring books on the inside.
What are you
But I
supposed to do
wish
with the paper when you peel it off? Like, why wouldn't you just make a
I
slipcover
don't
and
know.
slide it
I
on?
think
That's
I might have them boxed up. I may have threw them
Mhm.
in the box with all my J cards, but I might have thrown them away too. I can't exactly remember
Sure.
what I did with them.
Yeah.
Um, so that's around the 2017 era. And
Yeah.
when did you start getting into the boutique labels, things like that? Was it just
That
a
was
few
probably
three years ago or so?
a little bit later than or earlier than that, probably like 2018, 2019. I started with Scream Factory, and yeah, I
I
think that's the
always say
one.
we said it last night when we did our stream.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not going to be last night when I put this up, but
Yeah,
a few nights ago. I think of Screen Factory as like the gateway boutique label.
I agree
I
because
feel like it's the most mainstream.
I didn't really get hardcore into watching horror movies until like 5 years ago. So
Okay.
that's when I started looking up releases. I'm like, oh, Scream Factory's putting out a lot of the ones that I kind of want to check out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and their stuff was sold in Walmart. So I mean, I found my first Scream Factory in Walmart for $10. Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Misery were both $10, and they had
Right.
at one time they had a whole Shout Factory section in
Hmm.
Walmart. At one time they had a whole Steelbook section in
Oh,
my
I
in my
remember. I
Walmart.
loaded up. Yeah. Hmm.
And you're still showing off stuff, which makes me insanely jealous every time you do, of like Steelbook bins. I'm like, I don't ever get that crap around
Yeah.
here.
See, the one that's I was trying to look for one particular one because I skipped on it the first time, and 5 out of the 6 that I went to didn't have them. But the one that was closest to me, the one I went to last, is the one that did. But that one
Yeah.
always seems to have them in the bargain bins, and I dig like a madman, man. I try to find every single one
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, but I remember like Walmart's had multiple aisles and they'd had
Yeah,
Steelbook aisles, they had the Shout Factory aisles, they had 4K, whole like entire 4K racks and stuff.
it wasn't even that long ago. It was like 4 years ago. They had like a
It,
nice Steelbook
yeah,
section that had like 50 Steelbook movies in it. It was awesome.
if I, to be honest, if I would have walked into Walmart back in the day when I was just getting back into this back in 2017 and it was
Mhm,
like it is now,
mhm.
I don't know if I'd be the collector I am right now.
Why do you say that?
I don't. I just because like that really fueled and drove my habits back in the day. That's where I discovered a lot of stuff. I mean, I discovered boutique labels in Walmart, and
Sure.
I just got addicted to going in the stores and picking up
Mhm.
media. I was not a big online person at all. Like I rarely got on Amazon to order anything. Like I
Yeah,
loved
yeah, me
finding
too.
everything in stores. I like
Mhm.
the I like the thrill of the hunt.
Yes.
To go out and I went to the thrifting shops and the half price books all the time, and those aren't
Mhm.
really what they used to be anymore. At least not to me. The prices are just way too expensive now.
Yep.
Um, so I
See,
don't know if I would be collect. I would be. I definitely had the movies I loved, but I
mhm.
don't know if I would have gotten into half of the stuff that I'm into now if it wasn't for that.
For me liking steel books, I hovered more towards Best Buy because as soon as I saw that they were doing the Marvel stuff, I also saw that
Yeah.
they were having more
Well, yeah,
releases,
and you
and
can
they're
lump
still
Best
doing
Buy into that too, like because
it.
I
Mhm.
was going there at the same time as soon as I discovered that and Steelbooks and all that, and they had Steelbook bins in Best Buy. I remember those back in the
Yeah.
day.
Mhm. And
Um,
I know that all of the Best Buy physical media areas are shrinking. I know some of them don't even have them anymore, but the ones that I have, I would say probably 15 to 20% of what they have on shelves right now are steel books, which is
wow.
great for me. Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
probably in the ones next to me, they probably have 300 movies on display. And yeah, 15 to 20% are just like their exclusives that they can only sell. So they flaunt them and they show them, and I pick the ones up that I want. So at least still it's okay if you're into steel books to go into retail like that. But I mean, everybody just buys it online. And if you go to a store, you just get the ones that you bought just so you don't miss out and pick it up and leave.
Yeah.
It's a different age right now. I remember in 2019 being so excited going there on Tuesday on launch day,
Yeah. I
not
mean, it wasn't
pre-ordering
that
it.
long ago.
Yeah. I have videos of YouTube stuff I used to make back in the day that I kind of want to like do like a video picture in picture being like, okay, this is what it used to look like, and being like, isn't this crazy that it doesn't look like this now and it hasn't even been 5 years?
Yeah, because I was always drawn to the Blu-ray hunts. Like that's what I got into on
Hmm.
YouTube. I watched, the Cool Duders and Durant Cinema and
Right.
Wet Movie and stuff back in the day. I loved those things. So when I
Hmm.
got into doing my own videos, that's the kind of stuff I wanted to make. So when I started doing the hunts, like Best Buy was like at least 8 or 9 aisles. I was going through shooting footage and stuff. I could spend all day at Best Buy
Yep.
looking at their movie section. And then all of a sudden one day it's all gone. Or they
Hmm.
shrink it down to two and then they shrink it down to one. And then now it's just a standee and a couple of standees here and there.
And within the
Um,
next 5 years, I see it all just going away. Unfortunately, I
yeah,
really do. I think it's going to be an online medium, and for me, that's okay. It's just not going to be the same as what it was. And for
yeah.
future collectors, I don't know how you get into it without like walking into a store and picking something up on a whim.
Yeah, and then that's what I was talking about. It just
Hmm.
I don't know if I would have been into this the same way
Right.
that I am now if I didn't have that foundation in my collecting. Now I'm good. Like if they get rid of it all in stores, it's whatever. I've gotten into
Hmm.
getting online and looking at deals and getting on Vinegar Syndrome websites and Screen Factory, and
Yep.
I'm in that world more so now. I'm
Me
not as much.
too.
I do like going to half price books and still seeing if I can get a good deal,
Hmm.
Goodwills from time to time. But I'm not going to those places as much as I used to. I used to every Tuesday I was going up 5 or 6 different locations.
Yeah.
And
My previous job, I was able to do that on Tuesday at 10 when they opened. I would line up like 15 minutes before. There'd be like a group of 6 of us that didn't know each other besides in that waiting line. And
yeah,
it was a blast. And I'm probably like 75-25 now. I go to stores whenever I can. And my area, luckily, has a lot of used media stuff. So
yeah.
I could probably hit up 10 stores in a day if I wanted to and try to, because I still love to hunt. Like you said, it's fun to not know what you're going to find until you go in a store and look.
Yeah, and it's, every now and then you'll get that spark, you'll
Hmm.
find something. Like when I went into that game exchange store a few weeks ago and I found the thing with a slip or the thing
Yeah.
Scream Factory and Land of the Dead and they were like $5.99. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. I get to add these to my
Yeah.
Scream Factory
I
collection."
did that meetup with Bob and Stacy and Mel
Yeah.
on Friday, and we went to Half Price Books. I'll put a video out in a couple days, but I found How to Train Your Dragon 3 on Steelbook, and that's the one I did not have that sold out really, really quickly. So when I found that, I literally like pushed Stacy out of the way to grab it. Like I was like, I cannot believe I found this in the wild. I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, you get that. So, I mean, I found a couple of Criterions at this Peddler's Mall for like $1. Criterion Blu-rays for $1. Well, actually, I think one of them was a DVD. I think
Doesn't matter.
Bottle Rocket was a
Criterion.
DVD, but it was a
Yeah.
Criterion. So
And
I
a
was like,
dollar.
man, this is super cool.
Yeah.
Now they had it like their initials on the back and permanent marker, I discovered when I got out to the car. So I had to get that off of there.
Are
But
you big into
it was
that?
still cool.
If you find something used, are you big into like making it pristine?
I try to if it's something written on it, but I don't really care I don't know how you feel about it, but I don't care as much about little dings and dents in the corner and stuff. Maybe you do on Steelbooks, and I would understand that a little bit more.
When I buy them used, I don't like there were a couple at half price books that I passed on just because there were a little bit too much scratches. If there's a
Yeah.
couple and it's used, that's kind of fair game in my opinion.
I mean, we've
Some
just gotten used to spine slashes at this point. I mean, they
Oh,
spine
fucking
slash
terrible.
everything.
That's like the worst thing though, because that's the
Yeah.
majority of what you see all the time is just
Yeah.
spines.
Yeah. I
So
can't
I don't
stand
like
that.
that. But half price books, like half of their stickers that they use, like the ones like this size, they're easy to come off. But the little like square ones are the worst,
Those are a
especially on
son of a
steel
bitch.
books. You got to use Goo Gone and scrub, and half the time I just leave them on there. I'm like, I'll get it off eventually, and I never get it off.
Yeah, I definitely don't do it right away. I will, like during COVID, I got in the habit of wiping everything down when I got it home.
Yep.
I don't do that as much anymore. Like I still got
Mhm.
a Goodwill bag over there that still has stuff in it I haven't wiped down yet. But I try to get those stickers off, when I get it. But I don't care about little corners, edges of slip covers and cases and things like that. If it's a little dented, if it's a little scratched or ripped or torn, I don't care as much about that. Now, if it's a big rip, I may not want that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I try not to stress myself out over that because I feel like it's unavoidable.
Pretty
It's
much, yeah.
it's hard to get stuff in pristine condition.
And steel books, they dent so easy. So like even if you buy a new one and it's wrapped up sealed, you could open it and just find a dent that you didn't see when it was in the packaging.
Yeah. And if you get to that point where you're caring about, the condition of every single item in your collection, it's going to take a little bit of the enjoyment out
Yep.
of it, I think. And plus, I think it's, it adds character to your collection. That's
I
your collection. That's your slip cover with that little scrape in the corner or
I'll show you.
tear.
This is the worst one I've ever gotten, but it made sense with the release. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I got this from Best Buy online for $10, and I opened it up, and there's a
Oh, yeah,
giant
baby.
dent right there. You can see like on the top. It
Hell
looks
yeah.
like the thing got into a car wreck, but there's a
Hell
big
yeah.
car wreck in this movie. So I'm like, if that's gonna happen to any of
That,
my
that,
copies of a movie on Steelbook, I guess it should be
yeah.
a Fast and the Furious
That's a
one.
part. That's an exclusive car wreck
Pretty
dented
much, yeah.
edition.
One of a kind. One of a kind.
But okay, we got into your collecting a little bit. Let's say I want to get into a little bit of what type of collector are you? Obviously, I know you like your steel books and stuff,
Mhm.
but are you a person that are you still wanting to get everything on release day? Are you a day one buyer guy, or do you wait for the sale on a lot of stuff these days?
I've never been a day one guy. I know some people say they felt obligated to buy as much as they could day one, and
Yeah,
I've never had that philosophy just because I'm cheap. I like to get as much stuff as I can for as little amount as I can as possible. So I on the Blu-ray.com app that I have, I scroll that daily just to see, okay, what's on sale, what can I do, I have this, and if I do have it and I see it on sale for like $15 and I bought it at full price, I kick myself all the time for that stuff.
this
I've
stuff's going down in price so quickly now.
Yeah.
Like it's a week or 2 weeks, it's down like $5 or $6. Like it's
Mhm.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
I
the
don't see how
majority of new
anybody buys
stuff,
stuff day one.
unless it's like John Wick Steelbook, I would get that stuff because they sell out quickly. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
if it's
got
just
to.
a random 4K release, I will wait until probably it's $10 or less.
Yeah, I'm waiting on John Wick 4 to go down in price on just a regular 4K slipcover. I don't think it
Mhm.
has yet
Yeah.
because I just got the Walmart Blu-ray Steelbook because I like that Steelbook the
Yeah.
best,
I like the artwork on that
but
one
I
just a
don't want to
bit too.
watch it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So I'm
The
waiting to get
4K
the
looks
4K.
awesome. Yeah.
I've heard it looks great, so I definitely want to watch it on 4K. So
So
I'm
when you
waiting.
get it, are you gonna swap the discs or are you gonna have two different packages on the shelf?
When I mean, I'll get the slipcover 4K, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna put that with my
Yeah,
slipcovers,
both.
and that Steelbook will stay with my Steelbooks. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I don't want to swap it
Yeah.
or nothing.
I got the 4K sent to me from Lionsgate, but I had the
Yeah,
Blu-ray Steelbook, so I didn't need the slipcover on there, so I just
yeah,
took the 4K Steelbook and put it in the Blu-ray.
yeah.
Just because I thought the artwork on the Blu-ray was the better out of the
I
two
did
as
too.
well.
I didn't love the Best Buy one, but since I didn't have the 4K, like I was trying to with me and Steelbooks, like I don't have to have them. So I don't like pre-order a lot of them,
Mhm.
but there are ones that I do kind of want, and if they're in the stores and and I like them and I like the way they look on the shelf and stuff, I'll grab them.
Right. Like
Um,
Scream 6 that just came out, I'm waiting because it's not an exclusive, and I have the
yeah.
feeling that they
Is that
over
still on
pushed it.
Amazon?
I believe so. It's not I don't to my knowledge, it's not sold out anywhere.
I
And
think Scream 5's still on there, isn't it? The
Scream
Steelbook of
5,
that?
they have dropped down in price a few times. Like at the lowest, it was 17.99. I feel like that's gonna happen with Scream 6 too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like the
I didn't.
stock market, Ken, almost. Like
Yeah,
you kinda just, "Okay,
it
it's at
is.
this price now. Do you wanna buy it while it's available, or do you wanna see if it'll still stay available and get it
We're like
lower,
the
or it'll
Wolf of
sell out
Wall
and it'll be
Street
twice as much?"
collectors over here.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, yeah, for sure, it is like that. Yeah, with Scream 6, I just didn't get it. You know, I just I'm like, this is gonna go down in price, and I can
Yep.
grab it. Like I'm weird with the Scream stuff now because I bought the slipcover for Scream 5, so now I feel
Mhm.
like I got to get the slipcover for Scream 6. But with the original ones, I bought the steel books. I got the
Yeah.
steel book for 1 and 2 because I
Mhm.
like those. Um, and now it's gonna be weird because I'll have Scream 3 4K steelbook probably, and then I'll have the new ones all slipcovers. So
Yeah, I'm
not
hoping
gonna be.
Scream 3 gets a 4K release. I'm assuming that
I've
it
I've
will.
heard that it was this year, but
Okay,
who
I hope
knows?
so. It would make sense. I'm more excited for Scream 4 to get one because that's an oddity of a movie, and I like it a lot. And I have the German
I like Scream
Blu-ray
4.
steelbook for
I
it.
like all the Scream movies. They're all solid movies.
Scream
But like with Scream 6, I don't know how you are, but it's like I saw that in the theaters, so I don't know
I
if
did
I'm gonna
too.
watch that anytime soon, so I can wait on that.
Well, I know I'm gonna watch all of them again when Scream 7 comes out. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I like to watch the entire franchise before I see the newest installment.
Oh, yeah. Are you watching all the Nolan films right now? Because I saw you were
I
watching The
am.
Prestige
Yeah.
the other day.
I just the last one I rewatched was Inception, so I still have a little bit to catch up on, but yeah, I
Okay.
especially I like watching a director's filmography from start to finish. I enjoy that quite a bit. Either it's a franchise or a filmography thing. I just kinda like to deep dive into seeing the evolution of something.
Yeah, I've done that before on a few, but you have to pick a director that's, doesn't have like 50 or 60 movies or you're gonna get burned
Yeah.
out.
I wanna do
Uh,
Scorsese, but there's no way.
I do wanna do Scorsese, but
Yeah.
I could skip the ones, I guess, that I've already seen. I feel like I could plow through because I've seen at least 20 Scorsese movies, I feel
Me,
like.
I'm a big Letterboxd guy, but I didn't start it until 2017. So if I haven't watched it in the past 5 years, even if I've seen it the past 25 years of my life, I still
Yeah,
need to watch it to log it on Letterboxd to
to
see,
log it on
"Hey,
Letterboxd.
here are my thoughts." Yeah.
You're not just gonna log it based on memory?
No, because my memory sucks. I
I
need to
hear you.
rewatch it and be like, "Hey, here are my thoughts."
I hear you. Do
Mhm.
you keep up with Letterboxd pretty well? I'll link your Letterboxd down below as well.
Sure. Yeah, no,
Um,
I love using that app. I'm a big stat tracker, so I paid the $20 a year, and you get everything you've seen since you started, and it tracks like, okay, how many comedies have you seen? How many movies? What type of day do you watch the most movies?
oh,
It's
really?
amazing. Yeah, it's the best.
I need to do that. I get lazy with Letterboxd, so and I've really tried to keep up with it for the past like couple of years, and I've done a pretty decent job.
Mhm.
But I won't use it like all month, and then when I get to the end of the month, I was like, I gotta log all these real quick,
Yeah.
and so
I
I'll
tried
just be scrambling to remember what the hell I watched the whole
right.
month
See,
to
I
get it on
can't
there.
as soon as I'm done watching something, I write a review on my phone, and
As I was
that
gonna ask, do
way
you write like a whole review or like a
depends on
paragraph
the
or
movie, depends on my feelings, it depends on just how I'm feeling that day, like, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I've got a witty thing, I'm gonna write a one-sentence review," and sometimes I write, like, 3, 4 paragraphs on it, so
yeah, because
mhm,
like I said, when I was doing my movie reviews and stuff, every movie I watched, I did like 3 paragraph review on Instagram. I
that was
didn't
me
ever want
so
to
much
make it
too.
any longer than that because I felt like nobody would read it if it was
Right,
any longer. So I tried to squeeze it in 3 paragraphs or whatever Instagram allowed. I don't know if
mhm,
they allow more characters today than they did 6 years ago, but I felt like it was like 500 characters or something back in the day. But yeah, that's interesting for sure. I'm trying to get back to where Day one buyer, asked you that.
Mhm.
So do you buy a lot of mainstream releases, or are you mostly boutique at this point? I feel like you get a lot of boutiques now.
I do, but I'm a rare case, and we'll probably talk about this later. But I just because of where I am in social media, I have a lot of studios sending me stuff,
Yeah.
so I don't necessarily have to buy a lot of the new stuff. So my money that would go towards some new stuff that I would pick up has gone towards the boutique side of things.
Yeah, for sure. For
hmm
sure.
But like Vinegar Syndrome this year, that has been my new love, and I gave it shit for the past couple years. I'd be like, why do you want to collect movies that are terrible? You
I
just
feel like
collect
we're
them for the
very
artwork.
similar that way.
Yeah, and now I'm just like, yeah, I love this artwork. I will watch it, and if it's terrible, I'll get rid of it. But at least it's on my shelf looking nice before I even watch it.
What percentage of your Vinegar Syndrome titles have you watched and enjoyed, and which ones have you watched and thought were complete shit?
I would say it's probably 50-50, and I'm liking a lot of like the OCN direct partner labels a lot more than Vinegar Syndrome itself.
Yeah. Yeah, for
A lot of
sure.
the Vincent ones, it's rough.
Have you
It's
thought about diving into the partner, or not the subscription? The
no,
subscription.
I'd like to save money, Ken, and I know that like it's $1,000 at the year, and you're supposed to save money, but with all these sales that they've been doing, like
But with you buying as much partner label stuff as you do, isn't it like 30% off the partner label stuff?
yeah, but I
You only
think
get it during the sales. You only
yeah,
do it
like the
during the
first one to
sales.
get me, like the main reason why I even started was that 10 for 10 deal that they had. It was 10 days where they had 10 movies that was $10 a piece.
Yeah.
And my brain working is like, they're never going to be this cheap ever again. So I bought like 30 titles during that sale.
I wish I
And
would have bought more.
then they've had random sales here or there. And then the halfway to Black Friday is when like, okay, I'll drop a couple hundred, buy some, add them to the shelf. And I try to watch at least one a week just to be like, hey, I've seen this and it's going to stay, or I don't like it and it's going to go.
So are you like that? Do you, if you don't like something, you'll get rid of it?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. There have been a couple Vincent movies that I watched, and when I log it on Letterbox, if it's 3 stars or above, I'll keep it. If it's 2.5 or lower, it's gone. I'll sell it just so I
oh
can get something
wow.
else. Yeah.
2.5.
hmm
My
3 stars
goodness.
is where I can
That's high
recommend something.
standards.
Not, I mean, three. It's a 6 out of 10. It's
You
not
might watch it in
crazy.
3 years though, and it might go up to
I highly
three
doubt it because it
stars.
in my brain, if if it's on the shelf and it's in my brain, I'll be like, did I log this already? And I'll see if
Did
I
you
gave it two
watch
and a half.
this
I'm not going
movie
to watch it again.
Primal Rage?
I don't have that one. No.
This is a
Have you?
banger.
Is it?
100% recommend on a sale.
Gotcha.
You'll probably hate it. You'll be like, why did he recommend this to me?
The last
I
one
thought it was pretty good though. And
I
it looked
watched
great on 4K.
Blades. Blades is the last one I watched.
I have that. I didn't watch it. Is that one any good?
It's fun. It's pretty much a shot for shot remake of Jaws, except it's on a golf course with a lawnmower as Jaws.
Wow, I'm watching that tonight.
But I love Jaws, and I thought this was a little hokey, but a lot of people like that movie a lot. It's a trauma movie. A lot of trauma is hit or miss with me for sure.
Yeah. I like the when they include like an hour and a half long documentary about the movie.
Yes.
Like I watched Primal Rage and then I watched the documentary after, and it actually made me like the movie a little bit better.
Yep.
So that
Agreed.
happens sometimes for sure.
hmm
The Freeway movies are both good.
I need to get those. I'm waiting for a sale. One of these days it'll happen.
I enjoyed both of those, even though the first one I think's a better quote unquote movie. The second one's batshit insane. The first
hmm
one kind of is too, but second one goes off the rails completely.
I just
But
got
yeah,
my
I
first
enjoy both
big
of them.
box from them, the Cloak and Dagger, and now I feel like I need to get more of
Mm.
those, even though a lot of
Oh
those
yeah,
titles
that's
are
my
kind of
pride and joy, my
yeah.
VSUs for sure.
See, I've never been into like, okay, if it's in a label, I have to collect all of them. I've never had that mindset at all. But with the boxes, I totally get it. Like I get what they're going for there. It looks nice on the shelf, and yeah,
I got completely lucky, and I'll call him out every single time. It's a guy named John Cooley sent me the first 3 VSU titles, and I would
mm,
never be into collecting them if it wasn't for him sending me the first 3. And now I feel like I have to get every one. I
sure.
don't care what it is. But
Yeah, but
luckily, one of them
seen-
was one of my all-time favorite childhood movies, Sidekick. So I was happy to get that one.
haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
hmm
that's a Karate Kid ripoff for sure.
Yeah,
But it's a lot of it. I mean, it honestly brings up a whole different dynamic and element to that story. It's kind of really meta with Chuck Norris kind of being in the movie as Chuck Norris.
Hmm.
And he's like having daydreams about him and Chuck Norris like fighting off the Viet Cong and stuff in the middle of the movie.
Okay.
It's kind of, yeah, it takes a different approach, but it's basically a Karate Kid type movie.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm not even gonna ask this question: Steelbooks or slips?
Nope.
I know
Next.
you're a Steelbook whore for sure. Which boutique label is your favorite right now?
I would say starting out it was Scream Factory, or starting out it was Criterion. That stepping back, that was the first one that I really fell in love
Are
with.
you
Those
big into
aren't,
the Criterions too?
I
You
used to
going
be.
nuts on the sale right now?
I've taken a step back, and especially since I've had kids, I watch all of my movies with subtitles, and a lot of Criterion don't have subtitles for some reason. I
What? Are
don't
you
understand
serious?
that. Yeah, I don't get it at all. But
I don't know if I've made that connection or not
ever
yet.
since I figured that out, I have slowed down on collecting that line.
Yeah, I watch a lot
And
of
I don't know
movies with
why.
subtitles too.
I don't know why you
That's
wouldn't have
strange.
subtitles. It doesn't cost that much to put them in there.
That's
So I would,
weird.
yeah, I would say my favorite now, Scream Factory slowed down a little bit. I
What's your stance on Screen Factory? Are you happy with the direction they're going in with all the 4K upgrades or
If their 4K upgrades had new special features, I would get them every
yeah.
time, and I would be happy to do so. But if you're just gonna put in a new 4K transfer, I'm not gonna double dip.
Yeah.
I think the only one I did that for is Army of Darkness, just because I like that movie so much.
Yeah. I'm conflicted on it for sure. I think that if they just added in a couple new features, I mean
Yeah.
people would be more accepting of it for sure. And I don't think it shouldn't be that hard to do. I mean, you're making all this new money off of the freaking movie and sales. Like treat it like it's a whole brand new release and add a couple new special features. I don't see why it's so hard to do.
To me, it seems like they're on autopilot right now. Like they just have a catalog and they're gonna milk it dry. And I don't like they have a couple new things every now and again, like that the box set, the Empire box set was awesome.
Yeah.
But or
Well,
that's Arrow Video even.
that was
Yeah,
Arrow
the
Video,
Screen
yeah. But
Factory. Jesus.
they took a lot of Scream Factory
Yeah,
titles to put that out. So yeah, it
yeah.
does feel like they're on autopilot a little bit, and it kind of
Mhm.
feels like they're still doing new stuff, but it kind of feels like Blue Underground, who's just kind of on autopilot, just upgrading all their stuff to
Well,
4K.
I feel like Blue Underground is on like life reserve right now. Like
Yeah,
they could
life
be
support.
sold and
Yeah,
bought off to somebody else, and they're just other boutique labels are just dying to get their catalog.
yeah. But you
Screen
start to think to
Factory,
yourself like, they just don't feel like they have that hunger anymore. You know.
right?
Like
Yeah.
Vinegar Syndrome feels like they got the hunger, like they're just ramping up and trying to take everything over, and Scream Factory's just letting stuff slide and go to other companies,
Mhm.
and I don't know.
And it's nice to get like a behind the scenes look at some of the things they do on like their YouTube page and whatnot. Just like their process of going through and taking these movies that have been completely forgotten and restoring them to their. I mean, even though it's a movie that nobody has ever heard of, at least it's saved and it's preserved. I like that aspect of what Vinegar Syndrome's doing, and a
Yeah,
lot of
that's really cool.
their partner labels are awesome. I think I like their partner labels better than Vincent themselves, but at least they're helping little studios get their random documentaries about Goldeneye out to the masses.
And that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the documentary was okay, but I didn't love it. But
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit.
that damn
Yeah.
packaging, man, you couldn't
Mm-hmm.
talk about a straight shot of nostalgia. Like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, that's mine
Pretty
now.
much. Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, and it's also cool with IFC Midnights. Like I'm
Yeah,
excited for that partnership
can't
as
wait to
well
see what they
because they
do.
got
Mm-hmm.
a lot of really underrated gems for sure. So I'm excited about that.
The only one I can think of is Human Centipede 1 through 3. Those are IFC, I believe.
Those are IFC. They got a ton of stuff. They got probably stuff you've seen, but a lot of stuff that was put out through Screen Factory. But I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen the movie Rent-A-Pal.
Mm-mm.
Um, they've done a lot of stuff. Look up IFC. It's not just horror. Like they've got like legitimate movies. I think some of them's been nominated for like Oscars, and
Sure.
they got a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do a lot of blind buying? And
All the
what's your
time. I
stance
mean,
on blind
yeah.
buying?
I enjoy it, and on that My Movies app, it shows what movies you have in your collection that you've seen and that you haven't seen. And I probably
Yeah.
have like a 70-30 split of movies that I haven't seen in my collection, because sometimes I just want to grab something that I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but I've heard good things, so I'm going to pop it in and see if I like it.
Yeah, and yeah, that's why I love, collecting. It's the sense of exploration and finding all of these movies through physical media. I just think that's super cool.
That's
I
what we do
can't
at the
I
movie
can't
store. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's basically what we're doing. We're creating our own video stores
yeah, I don't
in
know
our
about
house.
you, but there was a mom and pop about like 15 minutes away from my house that we would go to, and it would just be like a frickin' wonderland where you would run aisle to aisle as a kid and just try to find things that looked cool by the box art, and you would just grab it, and
Yeah, I had
that
a
would be your
hometown
entertainment
video
for the weekend.
store,
Yeah,
and the movies were downstairs, and then they had a video game room upstairs. I could
nice.
rent Super Nintendo and Nintendo games, and
Yeah, that's what I had to do on my birthday. I'd be able to rent a system because I couldn't have
yeah,
them, so I'd rent the system, and that's what we would play overnight, all frickin' night, and it was the best.
yeah, and
Mhm,
that's awesome times for sure. But
mhm.
yeah, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but I get comments all the time. I'm sure you do as well. But people that just can't understand why you want to buy something that you've never seen,
Mhm.
why you want to waste your money on something that you've never seen before. They're like, I only collect movies that I've seen and I know that I love. And to me, that
Well,
just it's boring.
a lot of my negative comments are like, "Why are you collecting this stuff? You know you can stream it, right?" Like, that's the
I feel like
worst.
that's the TikTok mentality.
Or, like, a whole bunch of younger
Yeah,
kids, yeah. They're
yeah.
like, "What is that stuff behind you? I don't even
You
have
you
anything that
get you
plays
get that
that."
on YouTube for sure, but
Yeah,
most of the comments I get is about me buying movies that I don't like or that I might not like or I've never seen. And why do I do that? They don't get
yeah.
it.
That's the beauty
Um,
about collecting, though. You can collect what you want, and I don't know why some people have certain opinions that they believe everybody has to abide by. I
yeah,
don't get that at all.
it's a weird mentality for sure.
Mhm.
For sure. But yeah, if that's the way you want to collect, that's, more power to you. I understand that for sure. I mean, when I was younger, like in my 20s, I was only buying movies that I knew that I loved and just wanted in my collection and stuff. I wasn't doing a lot of exploring and things like that. I wasn't into it collecting like that. When I went to buy a new DVD, it was a movie that I saw in theaters. And I just wanted it in my collection.
Agreed.
Do you still do a lot of shopping at thrifting stores and stuff on a regular basis?
Yeah, because there's a lot around me. I still like there's a Goodwill next to my work, and the town that I work in isn't there's not a lot to do on your lunch break. So probably once, twice a week, I'll just go there, see if they have anything new. It's kind of connected to a Dollar Tree too, so I can walk from Goodwill to Dollar Tree to see if they have anything new. And yeah, that'll just kind of kill an hour.
Man, Dollar Tree was the place back in the day. I made so many videos at the Dollar Tree
Hmm.
buying
Dollar
crap
Trees are
that I
fun. Yeah.
that I now have in a bin in my closet.
Right. Uh-huh. Just it was a great way to like fill shelves on the cheap.
That's how I used to
Yeah.
describe Vinegar Syndrome. I
Mhm.
was like, Vinegar Syndrome puts out movies that the Dollar Tree has. The Dollar Tree has Vinegar Syndrome titles in a few years.
Pretty much. Yeah,
That's what
that's
they're
that's
putting
the
out.
quality of stuff. Yeah, stuff that will not sell unless it gets shipped for a dollar. Mhm.
The Bride of Scarecrow. I remember when I watched that and I did a video on it and I was watching it and I saw Cold Duder in it. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. That was a good movie though.
No, I bought
Not
like
really.
I bought a movie there just for the case because the case was yellow. It was like a crayon movie, like Color City or something.
Oh, I remember that. I never
Yeah,
bought it.
and
Everybody's showing off yellow cases. I've seen
I bought the yellow case just to put the Simpsons movie in because it just pops. Yeah, it
yeah.
pops on the shelf, and that's one thing I like about collecting is that you can personalize it and just say, "Hey, I don't like the way this is packaged. I can switch it around a little bit, and now it looks a lot nicer."
And you're okay with that? It doesn't have to be the way it originally was
No,
intended to be.
no, again, you collect to make yourself happy, and if
Yeah.
that's I don't care if it's original packaging or not. I mean, the majority of my stuff is, but the Simpsons movie, it just kinda made sense, "Hey, I'm gonna do this little custom swap here," and
Yeah, they
I
should have
like it a
done
lot
that
more.
anyway.
Mhm.
Dumb for not doing that. Let's see. You still buy DVDs and VHSs, right? I mean, you don't just buy 4K and Blu-ray anymore, do you?
No. I buy more VHS than I do DVD. DVD is the one that I'm starting to really slow down on just because I barely pop those in.
Yeah.
VHS I still pop in from time to time in that spare room. I have a TV with a built-in VCR, and I have like a little children's nook area with a whole bunch of VHS tapes where they pop them in. But
Is it
sometimes,
nostalgic for you to go back and just be able to watch a movie on VHS? Is that why you will watch VHSs from
yeah,
time to
because
time?
you pop the TV on and you get that warm, fuzzy hum. It's just like boom, and
Yeah.
then
It's
blue
been so
screen.
long since I watched a VHS.
Oh
Been
man,
years.
it
Years.
especially you pop it in and it immediately starts playing previews of movies that came out during that
Yeah.
time, and you just get
Yeah.
flushed back with
You
memories.
memorize those previews.
Yeah.
Like, I still remember previews on certain movies. Like, I'm
I
just
watched
tied to those movies.
I watched basketball a lot in high school, and I still remember the trailer for Buffalo '66 because there
I feel like I
was
remember that too.
back in preteen Jake time, there was some nudity in that trailer. And I
Mhm.
don't know how they swapped it by, but I probably rewound that thing so many times just watching that more than the actual movie. I mean, I would watch it eventually, but I
I
would
go
watch the
through
trailer
back
like
some of
3,
my
4 times.
VHS tapes. I'm sure there's gonna be that big, like, static shot between a lot
Mhm.
of nudity
Yep. And
scenes.
sometimes you buy them used and you see these static things to where like they freeze frame or something. Yeah,
Oh, shit.
it's fun.
Yeah, that is fun for sure. Alright, so and I'm sure that sometimes that you got some VHS tapes that don't have DVDs or Blu-rays, right? Do you have any of those? Maybe you
I
watch it out
do,
of necessity,
but
'cause that's the
again,
only way you
that's
can watch it?
I mean, there's a couple of like ones that probably should be out on vinegars. Like I have one that's called Deadly Harvest, and it looks just like a straight to video. Like a lot of them are like straight to video VHS releases that didn't get transferred up. I don't really keep track of, hey, this was only released on VHS, so I have to keep it.
Yeah.
I've never been that type of collector either. I guess that's a lot of research. I'm busy
It is a
being
lot of research.
I'm busy being a dad and doing this stuff and a full-time job on top of that. I can't do that. I can't do everything.
Well, speaking of that, let's shift gears into you as a content creator.
Sure.
So you got into collecting obviously in
Mhm.
2013, and that evolved and took shape over time. When did you get into content creation, and what platform did you start on? Was it TikTok from the beginning?
Um, a group of friends and I wanted to start a podcast. So in 2017, we did like it was called Super Media All Stars, and I think the YouTube is still live. And we did 75 episodes of podcast, and we also that's when we started making like one-off videos and stuff. That's when I really started making content on me going to Best Buy, like 20-minute long videos of finding stuff.
Yeah,
And I had a blast doing that. I had a job my previous job, I was able to actually edit nice long form videos, and I love editing. Like that's the one thing on TikTok that is why I like doing it a lot is just because you can do
a lot more
60-second
editing.
to 90-second chunks, but you can do as much editing as you want, and their editing tools are phenomenal on there.
Yeah,
So I started on that, and then we stopped in 2020 because of COVID. We just stopped doing everything. And then 2021 is when I started getting back into making content. My wife had TikTok for like a year, and I made fun of her. I'm like, what is this? Just short form content. You got to look at it on your phone like this. That sounds terrible. But
yeah,
then COVID lockdown just made everybody crazy. And I was just trying to do something to be creative. And I started filming videos of my girls, putting them on there. And then I started randomly just putting videos up of my collection. The fourth or fifth video I did was the Knives Out Steelbook, where I swapped the slipcover over and it shows the killer on there.
yeah,
And I don't know if I was the first. I didn't see anybody do it beforehand, but that video blew up to like 500,000 views.
yeah,
And once that happened, I'm like, oh shit, okay, this could actually be something. And that's when I got over 10,000 followers, is like from that one video. And I had only been doing it for a couple months. So that's when I'm like, okay, if I am really gonna do this, I have to do it 100%. And that's when I started making like one video a day for the first year. And then that year happened. I had a couple more viral videos. Year two, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go from one video to three videos. Just keep on pumping content, because that's one thing about TikTok is that you just gotta kind of keep on
gotta
punching them
feed
in
the
the face. Like,
beast.
yeah, pretty much. And there were a few that year where I got like millions of views on like three or four videos. And that's
And
what
that
kind of just skyrocketed my viewer or my follower count.
And that was all back in 2021 when you got into it?
20, yeah, like January 2021 or December 2020, one of those two. It was right around Christmas time. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember the TikTok craze getting super popular in 2020. I feel like everybody was talking about TikTok. That's when I first got on there, was 2020.
Yeah.
And I did like a few things and then I just stopped, and I was more, into YouTube and
Hmm.
stuff.
And you're growing your stuff really well
But
on
I
YouTube.
kept trying to go back to it every few months, go back to it.
Hmm.
And I keep stalling and
Yeah.
having false starts and
We're
stuff. And
we're the opposite. I'm trying to grow YouTube by trying to do live streams, and I've only done
yeah,
like two.
yeah,
It's hard to keep up with everything all the time.
it is. It is for
Mhm.
sure. And sometimes you just got to pick what's working for you and what's doing well and just put all of your energy into that. Everything else
Agreed.
has to come kind of secondary. But
Hmm.
when did it click for you? So you started your TikTok as more like you're just gonna mess around and do
Yeah.
fun videos of your kids
I was
and
making pink pancakes, and I decided to like make a stupid song and just film their
yeah,
reactions to it and stuff, and just anything. I've always liked being creative with
yeah,
stuff. I just have that scratch that needs to be itched all the time. And when I found TikTok, especially like the short form content, like I was making like 15 to 30-second videos, which I still like to do, but monetization wise, if you make 60 to 90-second videos, that's where you kind of make the most money for also being creative, which
yeah.
is also a big driving factor for me for this as well. Just trying to, and 60 to 90-second videos I can post to reels on Instagram and reels on Facebook, and it'll actually count as a full video on YouTube. It's just, yeah, a lot of analytics. Like I said, I like to crunch numbers, and yeah, crunch numbers and being creative. It's a win-win for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. When did it click for you that that I know you said you posted the video on the Steelbook and stuff and how that
Mhm.
took off. Was it right in that moment that you're like, oh, I'm doing all movie content now?
Kinda, yeah, because you get,
Um,
like, a shot of adrenaline, like, "Oh my god, this
you're like,
many
I have
people
this
are viewing
entire
it."
collection over here that I can make content with. Like,
Right,
it feels
and
like a
I
no brainer.
also like I said, I like, doing sets, like, I like watching filmographies of directors and whatnot. I like
Yeah.
making series of videos that can continue on forever, and if you feel the same way as me, all you gotta do is click on this playlist, and you can watch a lot of content for as long or as little as you want to.
I'll be seeing your videos and be like part 58. And I'm like, oh, what is
Yeah,
this? I'm
uh-huh,
like, I have to go back through this and see what other
right.
parts you got.
Yeah, and like 99% of people don't, but that 1%, and I see it like in my
You got to try.
notifications. It like there might be one person that has watched 100 of my videos, and those are the ones that I get most excited about. I'm like, awesome, okay, I made a fan that really, really, really likes my stuff.
Yeah. I remember like on Instagram cuz I always was against social media. I was just like, oh, this is stupid. Like I don't
Mhm.
care to interact with people I went to high school with. I don't care about
Right.
any of those stupid people. Sorry if you're watching right now, anybody. Um but Instagram was the first thing that I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I just take a
Hmm.
photo and write some captions or whatever. And
Yep.
I remember coming home on a Black Friday and I got like 6 Blu-rays. I think this is like 2016 or something. And I just took a picture on the counter, and it seemed to get more likes than all my other posts that I'd put up on
Hmm.
Instagram. And that's when it kind of clicked for me. Maybe I should start up like a movie page or something, because this
Right.
was like on my personal page.
When I started
Um,
the podcast with friends, I started my own individual Steelbook obsessed Instagram account. And I remember spending like half an hour just setting up one picture of like a Steelbook stack set color wise, like red and white, like a candy cane. Took forever. I took the picture. It got like 75 likes, and I was thrilled. I was just like, okay,
That was
time
big,
well
man. I
worth
used
it.
to do so many colored
Uh
stacks and
huh.
stuff back in the
Yep.
day. I used
Yep.
to,
That,
yeah,
that was
I
the
would spend
thing.
hours like picking out the movies and stuff
Mhm. Yeah, I
with
did the
those
12
different
days of
colored stacks.
Christmas and 12 different colored Steelbook stacks, and
Yeah,
that
that
burnt
was
me out
fun.
for a
I
little
don't
bit.
know why I don't do any of that kind of stuff anymore.
Takes a lot
Now
of time.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm just more boring with my Instagram posts now. I'm just like, here's the new release, and I just
Mhm.
take a picture and I'm done. But I used to be a lot more creative with it back in the day. But that was before I did YouTube as well. So
Right.
that was the
Mhm.
only thing I was doing. Um, But when did you start discovering that there was a whole entire community on there doing the exact same thing that you were doing? And was that mind blowing for you when you discovered that? Because
Yeah.
I thought I was doing something original when I got on Instagram and said, I'm going to start just doing movie reviews and just
Hmm.
like doing the poster of the movie post and then writing my thoughts on the movie. And
Yeah.
then as I get into it, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of other accounts on here doing the exact same thing. And then you
Hmm.
just fall into that community.
I think Instagram has the best physical media movie
Yeah.
collectors or group
And it
on
was
social
because of the
media.
movie account that I started just to start to review movies that I started to fall into all the collecting
There's a
stuff.
lot
And I
because
was like, oh my
Instagram's easy.
God.
All you gotta do is take a picture, write a caption, and you're good. TikTok, there's a bigger barrier of entry. So there's a lot of people on there, don't get me wrong, but there's probably like 30 to 40 that do it consistently. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty small community. I enjoy
It feels like
talking
a
to a
very
lot of
tight
people
knit
on there.
community over there too.
Yeah, no, and I talk with the majority of them on there. Some, yeah, it's it's fun to especially like pop on somebody's live randomly, like when you're scrolling through,
Yeah.
just have like a picture in picture for a few minutes and then pop out. It's just, yeah, it's fun to be a part of for sure.
Yeah, you got I mean, I've had a couple of them on here this year, like B Star Cinema, he's really
Hmm.
cool, and then Movies with Leo, I love him, I love his
Yeah,
stuff, he's always, doing some
yeah,
super fun
he's
stuff.
doing. There's a trend to grow a lot of followers really quickly by grinding on live and just like live streaming
I've
forever.
still never done a live stream on TikTok.
I'd like to do it, but these guys do it daily, and I lose my voice if I talk for like 3 hours in a row. So I can't
I
physically do
always
it.
see
I wish,
Leo and, I think Blu-ray Dan does it
yeah,
a lot, or that's what I know. Was he Dan in
they
real life
and
on
I
there?
do the same thing that they
They're just
do.
running around, "Oh,
Yeah,
I got this." And I'm like, "What? Oh my god, this is, like,
that's what
so
people want to see.
stressful."
That's what people want to see in your collection. They just type in movie. Do you have this? I'm like, let's see. And sometimes you have like 1,000 people that pop in there,
Oh
and they're
god.
all saying something. So you look for a movie, and then you look down. You have 100 comments you haven't seen. It's fun to do, and that's another part of the
Yeah.
community thing
I
that's
I need
also
to
fun to
try that one
interact
night.
with. Yeah.
I'd have, like, 2 people in there though, probably. "Do you have Star Wars?" "I got it. It's over
I
here."
mean, you could probably do that on YouTube if you wanted to. I don't know if could you do like a YouTube live on your phone?
I could. I used to do
Yeah.
lives on my phone back before I got
Mhm.
this PC right here. I used
Yeah.
to do them
I bet
on my
people would
phone.
like doing that over here. I've posted my replays on YouTube, but again, it's fun to be live and type. Like I totally get that concept.
Yeah, or I could do it on Instagram maybe, something
Hmm.
like that. When did you start your Instagram after your TikTok? Were you on Instagram beforehand?
Yeah, I started in like 2017 with the podcast.
Okay.
So I would that's where I started posting like a post a day to try to grow that audience, but that grows very slowly. Like I think right now I have 5,400, 55 somewhere around there. And for the longest time I was stuck at like mid threes. Like I was stuck at like 3,400 for like 2 years. Didn't matter what I did, I just did not gain another follower.
It slowed down a lot a couple of years ago. They
Mhm.
changed up the algorithm and stuff and
Yeah, but then I switched from pictures to videos,
the
and that's
videos,
when
yeah.
it started climbing up again. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I did more videos, it would grow a little bit quicker, but, yeah, I've always liked Instagram. That's always been, like, my preferred platform. That's where I feel
That's
like I've made the most connections and
yep,
know the most people on, and
that's the one I scroll on the most just because it's easy to do. Yeah, it's just yeah, it's second nature, and it's yeah, it's comfortable to me just to, like, look at other people's pictures or look at their stories and see what they're doing.
yeah.
That's the one I've spent the most time on for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So starting, back in 2021 with the brand, did you start as Steelbook Obsessed
Mhm.
back then?
Well, I the first 2 videos with my kids, I don't even remember what I called it. It was not Steelbook Obsessed, but as soon as I posted one video about movies, I switched to that name
Yeah.
because I
What's
had that
your
on Instagram.
so you started back then. What's your current mindset on it now? And what do you have any like plans moving forward as far as TikTok or maybe possibly moving more into YouTube or
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing the
because
podcast and I had
obviously
the
when
name.
you're as ambitious as Jake is from Steelbook Obsessed, you have plans to conquer everything at some
I
point.
I don't know about that, but I'd like to I I think I have important stuff to say on physical media and just movies in
For sure.
general. So I if people want to hear it, I want to make sure that I have content out there for them to hear.
Yeah.
Is my
Personally, I love your videos. I love your short form videos. I think you do a great job on TikTok, but I love the long form stuff too. And I would
Mhm.
love some more Steelbook obsessed long form content.
I have
100%.
I don't know. I wish I had more time to edit because
Yeah.
the job that I have now, I work from like 8 to 5, and then I have an hour commute back and forth. And with kids and all that stuff, it's just hard to sit down for a few hours and edit something. I've been
Yeah.
trying to make a full Criterion Collection video for a year now, and I just film bits. When I make that long form stuff, I want to dig into each title, open it, show you all the extras that are inside, and I've gotten through 20 of my movies. It just takes
Yeah.
a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, I just did my shout and screams, and that was the first like collection video I'd done in over a year, and it's hard to do, especially
Mhm.
when you got a bigger size collection. When I did it 3 years ago, my collection wasn't anywhere near the size, so it was
Right.
easier to do.
That's
And
why I
I
kinda
like
wanna
to
do the
talk
live
about the
stream.
movies and yeah,
Yeah.
show them off. So some people can do those collection videos, just like bam, bam, bam,
Right.
10 minutes they're done.
I wish.
And I just yeah, I can't do it. I got to
I can
talk
see
about it.
myself doing, like, a live stream type thing, like a lot of the YouTube community does. I could
Yeah.
see that being like,
You
"Okay,
have
we're on
done
here
some
for."
live streams though in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, I've
I
done a
remember.
couple, but I feel like you gotta be consistent with that stuff too. Just
Yeah.
like it is with any other content creation. The longer you do it, the bigger audience you grow. It just makes
Yeah.
sense, and I have a couple ideas in my head of what I wanna do for, like, series like this, The World's Biggest Collectors. I have
Yeah.
and I've talked with a couple people on here to be part of that. I just have to find the time to fit it in because once I start it, I'm gonna do at least 10 episodes of it and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And just scheduling out everything. That's the hardest part.
It's super fun. I mean, when I started this as a way to just, interact with other people and to kind of
Mhm.
push myself because I'm just naturally introverted and stuff. And it's hard for me to get on here. Even today, those roundtables still give me anxiety before every single one of them.
Why's that?
I just like I don't know. I get people and I just get anxious,
Mhm.
about things. And am I being a good host? Is it going well? Is everybody having a good time? There's all kinds of things I get
Sure.
self-conscious about.
See, that's me in
Um,
person. I get butterflies in my stomach like crazy whenever I
yeah,
meet even a couple of people that I haven't seen in a while.
yeah.
Online it's a lot easier because I can just open up a screen and I'm there and I'm talking, but there's a lot less pressure.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, talking to you just one on one, I'm good. There's no
Mhm.
issue. Maybe a little bit like in the beginning before we get started or
Yeah.
something. But like this kind of stuff, when you get into it and you're just talking about stuff that you love,
Mhm.
it really is easy. But I just felt like that's why I got on YouTube, and I didn't want to show my face. Um, when I started on Instagram, I was like, yeah, I would like to do YouTube, but I just don't know if I could do that. Film myself and show myself. But I like to push myself into territory that may be scary. So
Mhm.
I started doing this and trying to meet other people and content creators, and it's been fun for sure.
Right.
So
No. You've grown a presence on here. I mean, I when I did all my TikTok stuff, I
I don't
came
know
back
how
to
valuable that presence is, but it's there.
right. People like to see what you have, and the collection stuff is nice to see. All the roundtables are fun, the interviews that you have. I don't know. I enjoy your content, man.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that,
Mhm.
man. I enjoy your content as well. Um, so you want to get more onto YouTube, and what are your goals for TikTok moving forward? Just continue to grind, and do you
Yeah,
see that being more of a long-term thing, the short form content?
I'm getting the most attention on there, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep that up. And I the
It
weirdest
is hard
thing
to break that habit
yeah,
when something starts growing for you, it's like you just want to lean right into the things that are working and you don't want to step outside.
whenever I
But
started getting, like, monetization for this stuff is really when it's like, "Okay, this is getting serious. I really have to figure out a plan of what I'm gonna do and constantly change that plan every 3 months or reevaluate every 3 months and just see,
yeah,
how are my numbers doing? Is there anything that I can do to change this in any way?" And, like, in my drafts right now, I probably have 25 videos that I'm going to post on TikTok just
yeah,
because I usually film, like, 4 or 5 3 nights out of the week just to have content on there, and I'm
yeah,
always thinking in my head, "Okay, which one am I gonna release next, and what time of day am I going to do it?"
yeah, for sure. You have to have that mindset to keep up a schedule. like you do for sure. But do you want to speak on that a little bit about the whole monetization aspect? When did you start making money on TikTok? Was it almost immediately, or did
Like
it take a little bit?
with that Knives Out video is when I hit 10,000 followers, and that's when you can start getting monetized on stuff. But
Yeah,
honestly, now, I mean, TikTok pays okay, but
yeah,
the stuff I make the most on is like branded deals, which I did not even think I would ever do
yeah,
until I randomly got hooked up with one of the companies. The first one that I ever signed with was MVD. They just randomly said, "Okay, yeah, if you want to show our stuff, that's great."
yeah,
And ever since then, more and more companies just kind of stacked on. And now I'm getting paid by PR firms to show different releases. It's crazy.
yeah. So not
That's
only
really
you're
not,
getting the releases, and you're also making a
yeah.
some money off that as well.
Hmm.
I mean, speak to that a little bit because obviously, I'm on YouTube, I'm monetized and making money as well. How does that? So I kind of understand that perspective, but how does that change the way you make content, your decision making process? Like, how does that affect you? Is it? I mean, it's cool, obviously, like you're
Hmm.
doing what you love doing. Um, but how does that affect the process? How does it affect your mindset
It
going
ma-
into TikTok? Does it make you grind harder?
I still like making content, and if I ever stopped liking it, I wouldn't do it. But
Yeah,
it definitely puts a drive in because it's money that I can save up to spend on a vacation that my family and I are going on. Like that's
yeah,
what this is just fun money. It's stuff that I can add to my collection back there or I can save up and spend with my family.
yeah,
So thinking about that is when I started thinking of it kind of as a business. It's not super profitable right now, but I'm still making enough money to take it seriously and not just shove it off and be, I don't know. Some people like to make stuff, and that's great, and that's how I started. But it started to become more of a business to me, for better or worse. I don't think it's really affected my content that much.
yeah,
I just make. I know that if a new release comes in, I can have a video of me unboxing a whole bunch of mail because people like to watch that, and then I can also use that same title to put it in my collection because people like those videos too. It's just making sure that a release has numerous ways of getting seen by your audience. So in that
yeah.
way, that's how I think of it as a business instead of just having fun making creative stuff.
Yeah, it's something I think about a lot, and I try to
Mhm,
make sure that I'm, remembering why I started doing this because
mhm.
sometimes you will get in the mode of I got to make stuff that I know is gonna hit,
You can get lost in the
that
weeds
that
easy.
that's gonna do well.
Yeah.
And
And
sometimes there's videos that I would really like to make, and I don't do it because I know that nobody's gonna watch it, and that's really gonna hurt,
well,
because that's wasting time,
yeah.
that I
See,
could be spending with my kids or
mhm,
whatever on something that nobody's gonna watch, and I'm
yeah.
not gonna make nothing off of.
For me, I do like let's watch and review stuff, which do really well on new releases, but I started to do it on Vinegar Syndrome stuff,
Yeah.
and nobody cares. But
Yeah.
I've still done like 10 or 12 of those because I enjoy doing that. So
Yeah.
for me,
You
the
gotta keep
creative
that
process
passion.
is worth more than what I can actually make off it. Plus, I want to watch these movies. I need a reason to do it, so I'm going to make content about doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And
Mhm,
I enjoy making all the content I make. Like I love just talking about physical media. I mean, that just it does get me excited and gets my juices flowing
mhm,
and all that good stuff every Monday when I get to put out, announcements and stuff. But
yeah,
there is times when I'm like, yeah, I just want to talk about this movie, but nobody's gonna care. I watched Wes Craven's Deadly Blessing the other night,
yeah.
Scream Factory. But if I put out a review for that, it's gonna do shit. Nobody's gonna watch it.
Well,
So why should I waste my time?
the the thing that I've realized is that you don't sometimes I think a video is going to do terribly, and that's
Yeah.
the one that randomly
I've been
gets thrown
pleasantly
into the
surprised
algorithm.
sometimes.
Yeah. Like there
Yeah.
was one I randomly made about like movie recommendations that I've done a million times before, but this one in particular, people liked what I had to say or they forgot a movie existed and I talked about it and it got to like 4 million views and I don't know why that is and sometimes you try to think too hard about like why did this one do well and why aren't the rest of them doing well? But sometimes one just
Yeah.
goes off and it's random happenstance, and you never know. That's what I've come to realize. You never know.
Yeah, and you do just have to keep on trying and trying different things and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And
The
it's
worst thing, the worst thing is when you make a branded video and you're getting paid to do it and it tanks. That's the
yeah,
worst feeling in the world, because then it
because you
doesn't
feel
matter
like
that.
you feel like you let the people down that gave you the deal.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
and that's only happened to me once, thank God, but the one that did terribly, I didn't even accept payment. I'm like, "I did not do well for you. I just keep it. I'm sorry. Hopefully, we can work again in the future," because I was embarrassed by it, and that's probably the worst part of the business set of things, is that normally when you're creative, if it does well, that's awesome. If it does bad, okay, but if you're getting paid to make a video and it tanks, you feel like so low. It's the worst feeling in the world.
yeah, for sure, man, for sure. You definitely want if a company's giving you their product to show off, you want the biggest audience possible to watch it,
Mhm.
and you want to be able to say that because you have to think with these companies are giving you this stuff. If you sell at least 5 or 6, then that has to be worth it to them, right?
Right.
Because you just
Mhm.
quadrupled or 5 times what they would have got before. So I like to think I'm at least selling some people on a few things that I got. Now, how have you ever gotten anything in that's you just think is complete dog shit? And but you did. And
I
how does that struggle for you?
I got the thing that comes to my mind right now is "Kill Her Goats." I'll just
Yeah,
say it right now. I
you'd
got
be
that
like
in.
this awesome. This it looks pretty.
Yeah, the Steelbook is amazing, and it has Kane Hodder, so, I mean, it sounds good on paper, but then you watch the movie, and it's the worst piece of shit I've seen in a very long time. It
Yeah,
makes nudity boring, the kills are terrible, there's nothing redeeming about that movie, and I they they sent me a copy, and they paid me to talk about it, but I haven't talked about it yet because 'cause I'm just gonna talk shit about it. So I don't know if I want to take their money and talk badly about their product, even though it's terrible. It's a bad
yeah.
movie and nobody should buy it.
Yeah. That does get tough sometimes. Thankfully, I'm a pretty easy mark, and I genuinely enjoy a lot of stuff I get
Me
in,
too.
and I can see like the good in it.
Mhm.
Um, but you will get those people. It's like, oh, you're only saying good things about it because you got it sent to you,
And that's
or
one thing
whatever.
I won't do. I will always be honest with my opinion on stuff.
Yeah,
And if the people that send me stuff email me about it later, I can tell them, "Hey, you asked for me to make a video. You didn't ask me to make a positive video about your product."
that is true. And
Yeah.
you've never gotten any emails like that before, have you?
Well, Killer Goats is one that I would rip to shreds, and I
Yeah,
don't make that kind of content ever. I try to be as positive as I can, but
you
that
do.
movie is one where I could not say a positive thing about it, and that's rare for me. It really is.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm,
Um, what's your creation process like? I know you got into it a little bit a second ago. So
mhm.
you stock up a lot of videos at a time, and
That's the way that I do it. My brain is always working and, like, figuring out, "Okay, how can I do this and this?" Like, even when it doesn't matter what I'm doing, something will randomly pop up, and I only film when everybody else in my house is asleep, really, so I can just kind of
same here.
be creative, and I go downstairs, I make 4 to 7 videos when I'm in that creative sense. Like, sometimes I go down here and I try and I just can't because my brain's not in that process. But I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes I go on lunch break and I do a couple like VOs of videos that I shot the night before. It's yeah, at night is the main time where I just stock up on videos, but I try to play catch up and just make as much stuff as often as I can.
I mean, you do some really, inventive, high quality stuff. So I give you a lot of credit. It's your stuff's unique and
And
it's different
yeah,
than most anybody else. I
that's
always
what I
like the way
strive
you
to do.
open up the packages, and you always
Mhm.
do the close up on you ripping stuff.
Yeah,
And
you gotta stand out, you
um,
gotta make it you have to make it entertaining,
I
like,
know
if
I'm
it's
watching a Steelbook Obsessed video, and you got your commentary in the background.
yeah,
It's very unique as well. I
that's
always
cool to
like when
hear.
you throw in like you'll just like throw in a random f bomb like out of nowhere,
Mhm.
and
You
because
never know when it's coming, yeah.
your content feels so family oriented
Mhm.
most of the 99% of the time. Then all of a sudden, but I fucking hate this movie or something.
Right.
Just come
And I
out of
probably
nowhere.
cursed way
I'll
like
be like, whoa.
yeah. If I make long form content, I will curse a lot more on it. When I'm doing
Yeah.
like the short form stuff, I can throw one in there and it's okay.
I always get a good chuckle out of that though.
Hmm.
But no, man, your stuff's is excellent. You do some very very good stuff. You clearly have the short form, content creation down, and it feels like a
Yeah.
well oiled machine over there at Steelbook Obsessed for sure.
The long form stuff, it's fun to do, and like I listen to a ton of podcasts because I have a lot of commuting. But short form stuff is where really I can focus on a lot of different things at once, which is very therapeutic for my brain because I think of like a lot of things at once. I'm like, okay, I can do this about this about that, and it doesn't take a lot of time to do all those. Like the majority of my videos, I can probably shoot and edit and VO and everything max like half an hour.
Yeah,
Some stuff I can do in 5 minutes and it's easy. Like I there's a trend of just like having like a green screen person on there and talking about like a trend and stuff. I absolutely hate that because it doesn't really do much. It's like a 5 second thrower filler thing out there. It's cool if you have a nice thought, but the majority of the time it's just a lot of people can do this and it's whatever. I like to
yeah.
kind of put some time and effort, and I don't know if that's just me
You're talking
thinking
about when people just like post something and it's like
or
somebody like saying
like a
something
cap cut template or something. Like
like the
those
Beetlejuice
things
guy from Howard Stern saying, "Oh, I'm just hanging around." Is
those
that what you're
drive
talking
me nuts.
about?
Yeah, those drive
Okay.
me nuts. And sometimes I watch them and I get a
I did
giggle, but the
one.
majority of
I did
time, like
one
sometimes
time.
if I watch one, I'll scroll and there will be another one popping up, and that's a good way to get views and an audience and everything. But I try to at least like you said, if you watch my stuff, I hope you know that
Yeah, I
I
know it's
put
you.
time into it.
Yeah, and that's a good way to because I feel like it can be harder to connect with your audience in short form because you're not spending a lot of time with them.
Hmm.
So you really have to put in a lot of extra efforts
Right.
to get that connection. And I
Yeah.
feel like you do a really good job of doing
Yeah.
that.
For me, you got to be personable on
Yeah.
there. Like
Like I
I
know who you are through your TikToks,
yeah,
and I
and
don't feel like I know who a lot of people are through their TikToks.
to me that's very important because like you said, you have their attention for a minute and you have to grab at it if you want to make sure that they view more stuff from you.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
But but yeah, man, that's really cool. You gotten the TikTok figured out and moving forward. And you put a lot of your stuff on YouTube as well, right? You put all your
every
TikToks on there?
I started doing this earlier this year because I'm always trying to think of how to grow stuff. And this last year, my process was it's going to take a while and it'll take a little extra effort to kind of get the TikTok thumbnail out of your video. But I'll edit that part and then I'll repost it to Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So every video that I do is on all four platforms.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, YouTube is I know they were really wanting to push the shorts and stuff, but it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like they really did that.
because their
like
monetization sucks.
like they were saying they were gonna do.
In order to get
So
monetized on shorts, you have to have 10 million views in a 90-day span. Like
yeah,
nobody's
I
gonna
never
do that.
get
And
that.
that yeah. I pushed hard for it and I got to like a million. And that was
And it
good for me.
also I feel like it would almost hurt you on YouTube to gain like if I did a video that gained like 10 million, got 10 million views and I got like 5,000 subs from it or something.
Hmm.
Those subs aren't coming there to watch my videos.
Correct.
They're coming there to watch that short.
Hmm.
Whereas TikTok and Instagram, it's made for that short form content. So I don't mind getting followers off of stuff on there.
Right.
But on YouTube, I'm always kind of reluctant to get
Hmm.
into the shorts like full throttle
Yeah.
because I
And
don't
that
want to grow my channel on shorts and then nobody wants to watch my longer form content.
and that's one thing I need to figure out what I want to do on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like because I want a video to be out there consistently, but I also would like to get paid for that stuff like I am on all the other platforms. So I could throw it on shorts where I know I'm not going to get paid, but it's constant content for you, and hopefully come out with a video once a month on YouTube. And it's two different audiences and it splits. It's
Yeah, I've,
not the
I've
route
seen
that
a
I really
couple
want to go.
channels grow from like 5,000 to like 50, 60,000 in like a couple of months
Hmm.
of a short form content. And their views aren't great. So
Yeah.
it just doesn't feel like it.
To me, what's the point? Yeah.
Yeah, what am I growing for? I mean, it's nice to have that number, I guess, and flash it around, but what does it
Hmm.
what does it mean, at the
Yeah.
end of the
At the
day?
end of the day. Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
Um, have your watching habits changed since you started making content?
Um, I feel like I'm watching stuff less, which sucks. Like that's one of
Yeah.
the downsides. I'm constantly trying to make stuff to put out, and that means I have less time to watch stuff.
Yeah, I always get excited like when I go because I mean I work weekends and I work 3 long days and I'm always making plans in my head over the weekend like what am I going to watch when I get home Sunday night. I'm
Hmm.
like, I got to film this video and film that video, and
Hmm.
I can't ever get out there to actually watch anything. It feels like,
Right.
except for the stuff that I know I got to review or whatever.
Yeah. My old
Um,
job, I had Wednesdays and Thursdays off, and that was awesome because I could play catch up on the weekdays and then work on the weekends, but also hang out with friends at night on the weekends.
yeah,
Now I have a Monday through Friday job, and I have a couple kids, and weekends get booked like crazy. So I, the
it's
majority of
tough
the
with
time,
kids, man. It
yeah,
really is.
majority of the time, I just watch stuff at night when they're asleep, and that's
Yeah,
when I also make content. So it's just like, okay, do I want to watch something? Do I want to make something? Yeah, it's
yeah.
a
It
struggle.
it gets tough for sure. How many movies would you say you watch in a week?
I try to gun for 3. Like that, if I do over 3, I'm happy. If I do under 3, I try to make up for that the next week. Because on Letterboxd, I try to watch 300 movies a year.
Yeah,
That's my benchmark. And
yeah,
the past 4 years, I have done that. I think so far I'm at 180 movies, so I'm like right on track for that.
yeah. It definitely gets tough. I try to do like 4 or 5 a week and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Luckily, my wife will watch. One with me. I'm always trying to get her to watch stuff with me. I'm like, "Can you
Yeah,
watch this? I got to review it. I know you're not
no,
into it, but
my
you
wife
watch it
would rather
anyway."
watch. Yeah,
No,
she'd
I don't
rather
want to
watch
watch that
YouTube.
garbage.
See, my wife doesn't like to come downstairs because it's way too cold, even though she likes to keep the house super cold. She likes to watch stuff in the bedroom. I like to watch
Yeah,
stuff on my OLED downstairs. So
yeah,
yeah, and she likes to watch true crime documentaries, and I'm like, I would rather watch anything else.
yeah. Luckily, we have the channel, and I can convince her sometimes to be like, you know what? I think this video will do really good.
Yeah,
We should watch Showgirls on 4K,
yeah,
and it did do good. So,
nice.
but yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I got some other stuff I can get into, but I don't want to keep you here all night. I guess we'll close with this.
Hmm.
Why is physical media important to you? Owning movies. Why is that your thing?
I like doing it because it makes me feel nostalgic, like we were talking about going through the mom and pop shops. Like it keeps that alive. Streaming doesn't do that. It's nice to just kind of go to a shelf and kind of finger all of the titles and be like, which one do I want to watch the most? I also like bonus features, which are kind of disappearing like crazy on streaming
Yeah,
services. Those are my main two. Like whenever I watch a movie, I like to watch like a making of doc or just whatever featurettes they have on there. It's part of the experience for me. And if I just watch a movie without that stuff on streaming, I feel like I'm missing out a little bit.
yeah, for sure.
Quality's also nice, but that's probably third. I mean, the OLED on 4K. I watched Willy Wonka a couple months ago on 4K. That blew my mind. That was so crispy. And like Drive, the second side of Drive, like that's
Oh
some
man,
of the
that
best
looks
stuff
so
I've ever
good.
seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch a lot of my movies on 4K because I had my
Hmm.
shitty 4K TV. Like when I
Yeah.
got a lot of these, and
Yeah.
I got my new one now, so I need to. There's a lot of stuff I need to rewatch. I'm sure
I
it's
mean,
gonna
a lot of
look a lot
honestly,
better.
a lot of 4K movies just look fine to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay keeping
Jaws
a lot of
freaking
Blu-rays.
blew my mind when I watched it on 4th of July. Like, this looks so freaking awesome, and I did
Yeah.
not remember it looking that great when I watched it back
Yeah.
in 2020 when it came out because I watched it
That's
on shitty TV.
that's one of the best feelings in the world too. Like when you pick out a transfer of a movie that you haven't seen before and it blows you away. That's one of the great reasons to collect this stuff because you just never know. I mean, you can watch reviews and stuff, but it's not until you put your eyes on that screen with that display.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of better feelings out there.
Hey, sometimes it can make you enjoy a movie a little bit more.
Hmm.
It really can. Like, you can just see more stuff and just appreciate it more
Right.
on that level. Like that's honestly why I enjoy a lot of Vinegar Syndrome titles in 4K that they're putting out. Because I just think they look great. I think they're doing some of the best work. So it's nice to have something pretty to look at.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
But Jake, this is the ends World's Biggest Collectors episode 54. I was glad to finally get you on here to talk about movies and collecting and content creation. I like getting into that discussion because I always find that super interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it's not talked about a lot, so I'm hoping that I put like a little peek behind the curtain just in case anybody was interested.
Yeah, for sure. And you were somebody I felt like I could definitely go there with on that level because you just feel like you're super into it. Kind of like I am.
Well, plus people are nervous to talk about it because they think it's going to go away or something.
Yeah.
I don't get that mindset. If you have a good enough connection with the people you're working with, it'll stay even if you talk about it.
Yeah, I agree. But Jake, one more time, tell the people where they can find you and why they should follow and subscribe and all that good stuff. Again, I will link all of your stuff down below.
Sure.
TikTok, Letterboxd, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Threads. I know you're probably on Threads.
Yep, I do have a Threads.
I haven't got on Threads yet. Is that the place to be?
It was
jump on. My wife got on there on our account and she said it's the place to be. So
it was the first couple days it launched and now it's lost a lot of steam.
Feels like people have kind of slowed down on it a little bit.
Well, they're just reposting stuff, and who wants to do that? If I'm following you on Instagram, I don't want to see the exact same stuff on Threads.
Yeah.
What's the point?
I get trying to promote that you got Threads, but yeah, it does get a little funny with that kind of stuff. And just too much to keep up with sometimes. I'm
pretty much. Yeah.
I'll get to it eventually. No, I'll get on there.
I think I have like 600 followers on Threads, and like if I get 10 likes, I feel happy. Like it's brand new, fresh. Like that was the best thing. It's just like, oh, it's a new social media platform. I got to join as fast as possible.
Yeah.
The rush of everything is the funnest part. And Threads has slowed down a lot.
Yeah, and that's not a good sign considering it just started. But again, tell everybody where they can find you and all that good stuff.
If you like short form content that you can scroll for as little or as long as you want to, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Threads, and
LinkedIn.
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 We were talking about I don't know. There's one other one. I'm on Snapchat, but not video stuff.
And MySpace. Following him on MySpace. He's his most active on there.
Yeah. Talking about Letterboxd. That's the one I was forgetting. I never plug Letterboxd, but I that's probably the one that I enjoy doing every time I go on it. Just to give my thoughts on and see what other people I follow think about movies. It's fun.
For sure. Yeah. I didn't get into this, but I wanted to talk about your collection, how you alphabetize stuff. Like you mix everything together, don't you?
Well, the way that my brain works is that I go from A to Z order. Yeah. Because that's the quickest way that I can find something. And then I also have like a boutique area.
Do you mix steelbooks and slipcovers together?
I don't care. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm able to find the movie as quick as possible. Yeah. It looks nicer on the shelf if all of your steelbooks and stuff are together. Yeah. But for me, the main
you put boutique labels, alphabetical order and everything, nothing separated.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I didn't want to do that. But my brain is like, I like the way that looks together. But slipcovers and steelbooks, I'm okay if they mix and match. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Definitely drop us a comment down below and anything that we talked about. Hit the like button. That's very important. Tell people how important that like button is, Jake.
It's one of the most important things. Again, I like to analyze everything. So for people watching a video compared to how many people just press another button while they're watching the video, why? If you like the video, like the video.
It's so easy. I get it though, because like back in the day, I watched YouTube videos and never liked anything. I just watched
a lot of people. Yeah, if you're not,
it wasn't until I got into this. Yeah,
you got my view. What do you want? So I get it. Just
I get it. But it's very important that we know that you like us because that fuels us to continue on creating that content that you enjoy watching.
Absolutely.
At least I hope you enjoy watching. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Definitely follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Jake, Steelbook Obsessed, he's awesome.
Ooh, I got one
Highly
more thing. I
recommending.
forgot.
One more thing.
Sorry, you're in your outro, but
You're
I
good.
do have this that I wanted to plug too.
There you go. Plug it.
Collection questions. Yes, you're in it, Ken.
I am in it. I
Yes.
am in it. And you're going to be on the upcoming roundtable as well.
Yeah.
To
Collection
plug it
questions is a
further.
documentary with a whole bunch of
Look at
social
that
media people talking
beautiful
about.
man on the back. I see him right there in the center.
Yeah, I think I'm right.
Man,
Yeah, there's you and there's me.
beautiful men in the center.
Yeah. Got that
I'm
Disney
happy to
princess
be in
there.
between AJ and Mel. That's
Absolutely.
definitely
Yeah.
good company for sure.
Yeah. I've seen it a couple times. It is kind of like just scrolling through a feed of physical media stuff because
That's
every
cool.
person
That's
gets their own
cool.
little 1 to 5 minute segment.
Yep, definitely. We'll promote that further for sure, but that's on everybody's radar. Pick that up. If
Yeah.
you like it, if you like all the content creators on here that you watch,
Hmm.
you have us all in
Right.
one little physical media release. That's pretty cool.
It'll be on
Uh,
sale on DVD and digital 8/8.
8/8, August
Yep.
the
And
8th.
more info to come. Yep.
More info to come. But thank you all again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe
Hmm.
to this channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe you came over from Steelbook Obsessed. I do stuff on YouTube that you might enjoy. Hit the
Yeah.
subscribe button.
Go to Ken on TikTok.
Go to me on TikTok. I am on TikTok. I do at least 2
Absolutely.
or 3
Plug that
videos
stuff,
a
Ken.
week.
Yeah.
I do that. Well, look, this
Hmm.
is more about you. It's about Steelbook Obsessed. It's more important that you get some more followers, subscribers, for sure. But yeah, we'll see you later.